Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Oh, I guess okay. Was it a good
Great.
meal?
I woofed it down in 6 minutes. I need to see if I can rechange my name since I'm playing the host.
I got a dog whining here too.
Oh, no worries. Okay. And then you're a little off camera, so you might try to get a little bit more centered for the presentation. Yep. And then so I think how this is going to work. So I'm going to try to do it differently than I did last time. So I got to share my screen.
Okay.
Because I had more and more issues as I tried practicing all that. Let me get rid of as much stuff on my screen as I can. So instead of working off of two computers, I'm going to try to work off of, let's get rid of email. So yeah, so the less stuff you have up on your computer, the better it will run.
Yeah, I don't have too much on. Let me get where I can see things here.
Okay, now let me choose slideshow.
I could show you a picture I took Sunday.
Let's just make sure we have all this working before people start hopping up. Okay, so now, so you should see just the full screen.
Yeah.
Correct? And then you can see the participants, right? You and me, and then potentially some names. And I'll have everybody else mute. Like hopefully some people will be on, and there'll be some chatting about different courses we have coming up, which I gotta print.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it'll be you and I, and then we'll potentially see some pictures, but we'll be the only ones talking. Okay. And then I'll be moving, let me make sure this works. Okay, I'll be moving slide to slide. Okay. And I'm seeing just what you're seeing, the full screen, but you and I know where we're going.
Oh yeah.
And where we're going through it, and we'll watch the time. So the meeting can go till 9, but I'll tell you, people start dropping off around 8:30. So I really hate to, to start losing people. That's,
Yeah, don't drag it out, in other words. Huh?
Yeah, we'll keep it. I want to keep it, like pretty, it's very, I don't want to say repetitive, but the changes are very consistent.
Just a minute.
Sure.
You didn't leave them outside. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay.
The changes are very consistent.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we have to, after you showed it a few times. Now, Avery, I will point her out as our junior member.
Okay.
And I wrote her and said, I hope you can attend because we're doing a couple of your photos, and she's going to try to get on. She's 12.
Yeah.
And she's doing this on her own. She doesn't have a photographer parent. Oh, so anyway, she's the one with the daffodil that you did all the, dark of life and all of that. And so in her previous, judging that she did, she's putting these photos on herself. Good on her. I would have been terrified at 12.
Oh yeah.
But somebody told her to work with her shadow. She thinks it's shadowing and doesn't understand it's shadows. So I sent her a screenshot today of Lightroom and moving the shadow bar. Yeah. Okay. And so I'm just saying we might have to back up a little bit.
Oh yeah, no problem.
And talk about the sliders on Lightroom and what we're opening up. And just remember that we do have, some novices in here, and we might want to ask, like, what software are you using, or are you familiar with the histogram and, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I was wondering if I should at the first there explain, what I do when I look at an image and it doesn't look right. That's when I look at the histogram, but you can do that on the camera too. as you take it. You can
Perfect.
see that
I think that's a really good, and I was just looking at what I want to say off of your sheet. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the letters. And I'll talk about you being at Yellowstone, and then kind of as breaks, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the things you do, just as a little bit of a break when we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what the questions are. They'll be in the chat so you can see them also.
Okay.
So at this point, if you want to play with the dogs or whatever, and just come back at 5 or 10 till 7, we're good.
Well, they're locked out now. Can I show you a picture that I took Sunday?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Let's see. How do I got to get in share screen.
All you have to do is at the bottom is share screen.
Yeah. This will stop you. Okay.
It'll just ask me if I want to share your screen. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't get a
there.
There it is. Yeah. He's starting sharing. Nice. So you got the full moon. Yeah. One of the first 3 spring ones.
I really like that new camera.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
That was handheld.
What?
Yeah, it was an 8,000th of a second.
Wow.
I've never had one that clear.
Yeah, that's awesome. And was this with your
the Mark
5D
III?
Mark III? Great. Yeah.
And it was 3200 ISO and 6.3, I think, f-stop. But I was having problems, and I just started switching things around, and this was the last one I took, and oh yeah, I think I got detail there.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. Good on you.
I thought that one was fun.
What time of day did you take it?
It was 11:45, midnight.
Oh, because they say that the closer you can get it to the horizon line, the bigger it will be.
Well, that was pretty, if I was looking up at it, it was probably about 11 o'clock or so. I mean, position wise.
Yeah, I mean, up a lot as opposed to right at, straight out. Yeah.
If you get it close to the horizon, you get distortion too, more atmospheric distortion than if it's up high.
Okay. Good to know. Cool.
So,
all right.
You can get me out of there.
Let's see if I share
my
screen.
There I go.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to print the email. I gotta get to that. Something else. To get to the email to print what events we have coming up.
Okay.
We're trying to come up with. Oh shoot! Why are you sitting on that? I don't think I need you. I'm working on our competition, our workshops next year, and our competitions next year.
Oh.
So what we're trying to do is, like, if there's a competition such as abstract, then we get somebody to talk about abstracts, that knows what they're doing.
Right.
So that's kind of a cool, okay, let's get that email down.
Yeah.
I think it's it makes it more like we did a workshop on, we did my computer's really slow. We did a workshop on self-portraits, because this topic that starts on April 1st is self-portraits.
You've done that workshop already?
Yes. We did that workshop already.
That's what I was thinking. It would help to have that a month ahead, not all of a sudden, here's the contest and here's
Yeah,
you
so
should have done.
yeah, like for example, our abstracts is going to be in June and it's going to be a competition topic in September.
Yeah,
Just I would hope that we wouldn't have them that far away, but just that's how it worked.
yeah. You have a
Um,
monthly contest then all the time.
We have a monthly contest just like you did, and
Yeah.
2 topics are always the same, the nature and the open, and 2 topics are always revolving and they're always different.
Yeah,
So like,
the one club, the one here in Billings, they only have 4 contests in a year. And it's just one topic. The one in Great Falls, they have one topic, but they have one every month. A different one, so.
yeah, so we do the 4 topics per month. And then there, before COVID, there were, every other one was print competition.
Oh, yeah,
And of course, we had to skip that.
yeah.
We had to skip. If I put this in, can somebody come in easily? I think they can.
Did you have somebody local judging the prints?
Yeah, so all our judging was all local.
Oh, okay.
And we had 3 judges and they each had a box that went from 1 to 9.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they had 4 seconds on a digital to judge something.
Uh-huh.
So it was, hang on a second, I'm getting a call from, oh, that's Los Angeles. That's not going to be anybody.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah.
Your car warranty is expiring.
I was just checking, thinking it was possibly somebody trying to get on the program.
Yeah. So it wasn't about your car warranty expiring?
I don't know because I couldn't hear anybody there. So,
Yeah.
they just are checking, really, they're checking whether it's a valid phone number.
Yeah.
And then they're going to text the crap out of you. And I'm in international business, so I wind up answering, and I'm also the secretary for our neighborhood association. And so I wind up taking a bunch of wacky calls.
Oh, yeah.
And so many times it is somebody. Like yesterday, I got a call, and it's a screaming maniac, old guy in our neighborhood. We're replacing the wall in front of his property. It's free. And he's screaming he's going to call OSHA. We're spending $65,000 on his wall, and he's going crazy. So anyway, yeah, just that kind of adventure.
Usually, I mean, I hate to have the thing ringing all the time and, all the way through to the messages, then nothing there. So I've gotten where I'll just pick it up and wait a couple seconds. Hello, no answer, click, that's it. But I did that once, and it was my son. And he called back. Why'd you hang up on me? I said, you snooze, you lose. Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't have anybody coming on. I think I should go out and check our, check our Facebook page. My computer's being so slow. I guess it doesn't like running everything. So our judge this coming month is Gary Potts.
Oh yeah, from England.
He's from Indiana, I believe. Let's see if I can just share that. I can't share this copy.
No, I'm thinking of somebody else, Tony, somebody from England. I think he's one of the judges too.
Oh, we haven't, let's see. I need to put this in the top thing. We haven't had him.
Yeah.
Okay. Close that up just so he gets it.
Well, going through these, I'll just kind of
Oh, here
hover in the
comes.
background. Huh?
No, well, I mean, yeah, you'll.
There's somebody coming.
Yep. Hey, Jerry, how are you? His audio hasn't connected yet. This is our webmaster and our treasurer and
Okay.
the guy who does everything for the club.
So I should know how to connect.
Oh, I'm here. I'm just causing trouble like usual.
Yeah.
Hi, Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Thanks for sending out all the emails about this. Appreciate that.
Not a problem.
So, Jerry, this is Dennis Herning.
Hello.
He was our judge. Jerry is not a competitor. He does everything but.
Oh,
So,
okay. He doesn't want to show everybody else up. Huh?
I don't want to scare them all off.
Yeah.
how is your back surgery, Jerry? How are you recovering?
I am doing okay. Doing okay. I got one more month and all the restrictions are going to be gone. So I should be okay at that point.
Oh, good, good. Your pain isn't horrible?
No, it's not bad. It went very smoothly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, because I mean, the back is such a tough thing and the surgeries on that don't go well. And so I was really worried about you and you weren't saying anything. And so I thought, oh my God, I hope he's not really screwed up.
No, we were. As a matter of fact, I was at the doctor's today and they said next month, no restrictions, back to normal like you have been. So
Awesome.
should be good.
And Jerry, you're seeing the full screen, correct? I'm just checking to make sure I've got this set up right because PowerPoint doesn't like Zoom.
What I'm seeing is the full screen and I see the participants also.
Great, perfect, which is what you should be able to see, right? And then now you're seeing the screen change.
Right. Yep.
Perfect. All right, awesome. Great, just they want you on like 2 different computers and 4 different monitors and la la la. So anyway, I want to make sure that what I'm seeing, what you guys are seeing is correct and you're not seeing the whole behind the scenes thing. So Jerry, where did you come up with your topics for our for the digital for this season? Were those a lot of your own or are those ones that the group gave you?
I requested submissions from people.
Okay.
And I use that.
Good. Well,
sometimes I use my own, but a lot of times I look for what people wanted to have for a competition or for topics, subjects.
Good. Well, what we're going to do, and this was Doug Pagangi's idea, and we're just carrying on with it, is we'll have the training a month or 2 before the actual competition. So like I have a speaker on abstracts that's probably going to be in June, which we haven't confirmed her date yet. And so then that'll be a topic starting in September, after everybody's done a topic on what makes a powerful abstract.
Okay.
So we think that'll be, really interesting, be a better way. And so it's somebody like yourself who doesn't compete, it's still a workshop, you know, and we're kind of try to do a big variety so that the nature people are happy and the non-nature people are happy. Hey, Gail, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. Welcome. So
Thank you.
this is Gail. He has been, we've been working together on his photography for a year since COVID. And he lives half the year in South Carolina and half the year here in Sebring. And so anyway, he just joined our Fort Wayne club. So Jerry is on. He is our secretary treasurer. And Dennis Herning is on, our judge that just judged March. And can you see Dennis, Gail?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so the gang will be on here pretty quick and we chat for a little bit and we'll talk about the upcoming workshops. And do you think you want to compete, Gail? We do 4 competitions a month.
We'll see what the caliber is.
Well, there's novice and there's advanced. You'd have to be an advanced. And you have lots of great photos now ready to go, at least for nature with all the waterfalls. We did a waterfall calendar for Gail's Christmas present for everybody.
Oh.
It's hanging in my office.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, so it was a fun project. We had a focus to get 12 different waterfall pictures and sent Gail into all sorts of very dangerous situations to get something different. So he wasn't very happy with me. No, that looks the same. Get lower. And, so yeah, we have a bunch of workshops coming up too, Gail. So I think I sent you that email, right?
Yes.
Good. Have you gotten on the Facebook pages yet?
Pardon?
Have you gotten on the Facebook pages yet for the club?
I have not.
Okay, so there's a Fort Wayne Photographers Club that anybody can get on, and right now there's 800 and some people on it, and not necessarily from Fort Wayne. And then we have a members only group, which is of course much smaller. And you know, if you have gear for sale or all the different classes or people helping on stuff, all of that is there. Hey Dennis, why don't you share your moon picture?
Oh. See if I can do that again, huh?
Just have to request share and it'll come up.
Yeah,
So Dennis just took this, and here's the hysterical spot. He took it not on a tripod, he handheld. Crazy.
I don't like tripods.
What was your focal length on your lens? Did you have the 100, 400 on it?
Yeah, 100, 400, and this is cropped in on that.
Right, but you'd only be 400 out because it's a full frame camera.
Right.
Your
Right.
5D.
Yeah.
So you're
This
only
was
400 out.
1/8,000th of a second, and I'd never tried anything that fast before.
Yeah, it's wild. Gail, have you done the moon? I don't know that I saw any. Oops, I've got Teresa in the waiting room.
Yes, I have a moon shot.
Yeah. I didn't know this was a super moon or the worm moon either, but somebody had to tell me that.
It's a super moon and a worm moon?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know where the moon or the worm is on it.
Huh. Because I'll put this down again. Is the worm the hole there?
No, it's that time of year.
Oh, interesting.
This is probably the hole here.
Mm.
Oh, and the other thing I did not.
Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm trying to find how to mute.
Am I muted?
You are talking, so that's fine.
Now
Now
she
you're
is.
muted.
Oh, now I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. You got it.
I'm not trying to start yet.
The Huntington
Yeah,
for Cosmo.
Covey,
I did not.
do not do
I
that.
didn't
Okay.
You know, yeah, we say Covey, but that's cool.
We, I.
You know, there was a famous guy.
Hi, David. How are you? David's coming on, but he's muted. David, can you hear me? David, can you hear me yet? Hi, Bernadette. How are you? Hi, Denise.
Hi.
David Livingston, I presume.
Turn the TV on. Lost about 4 billion revenue last season. When we come back, could you memorize this many handshakes?
So Bernadette, this is the judge that obviously loved your photography. You did great with him. So Bernadette is right below you in the pictures, Dennis.
Yeah.
She was a novice photographer that won a couple
okay.
things from you. So she's very happy.
Yeah, I didn't know who anybody was.
No, yeah, none of the names show or anything, Bernadette. So he was really happy with that. Hi, Denise.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Is Gene going to join in with you or on
Yep,
a separate?
he's right here
computer?
next to me.
Oh, he's
Hi,
just
honey.
invisible
Hi,
right
honey.
now.
See, here he is. Here's his hand.
Hi, Guru. Have you ever done Guru Shots, Dennis?
What kind?
It's a website called Guru Shots, and you compete online with thousands of photographers for short periods of time for different topics, and they're the master of topics. And
No,
you enter your photos, and then you can you vote for other photos, and the more you vote for others, more people see you. It's a really great algorithm, so you can't hide. You have to vote for everybody. So, you know, high tide rises all ships kind of idea. And Denise and her husband Gene are gurus on Guru Shots, which takes so much work, years and years of work, but it's really fun. Gail has done it. Gail is one of my friends from the Ridge Photo Club down here in Florida. Denise.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, Denise.
Denise is one of my great friends up here. Gail's the fellow I helped do the calendar, Denise.
Oh, okay.
That we did remote on Zoom all winter, all summer really, and winter.
And winner.
Yep. Are you on, David? Can you hear us? Larry Gaskill, can you hear us?
I can, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you're welcome to stay unmuted, and we're just chatting right now. And so if you guys have people that would like to join the club, it is just $12.50 from now until our September meeting. So August 31st. So if you have other photo friends that would like to join, now we have a lot of classes set up and a lot going on. So I'm waiting for Chris to come on, but Just so you know, well, since we're going to start in a little bit here, is that this is Dennis Herning, our judge, and he is going to rework photos. Some of the photos he saw that some quick changes he could make to improve the photos that were competing this.
Yeah, don't throw things at the screen. It's not my monitor.
So he had some suggestions for different changes. So he's doing that tonight, and we'll go through those. And he just sent them to me, and he goes, you know, you can just do whatever you want with these. And I go, this is a great presentation going over what you know, saw that would make great changes. So I threw it into a PowerPoint, and Dennis offered to be here. So that's
Well,
great.
Dennis, I want to thank you. I was two of your top choice. So thank you.
Was that right? Which ones
Yeah.
were those?
Mine was the snowflake and the flower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not real sure on that snowflake, how that goes with nature. And Brenda was saying there was a microscope, but I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, it was
Obviously
a
not. He did.
microscope freezing my butt on the front porch. And my neighbors all thought I was crazy.
We get so much wind here that flakes get all beat up. It's very seldom we can actually see snowflakes.
Yeah, it has to be a real gentle snow. Where are you
Right.
from?
Billings, Montana.
Oh, yeah, you guys get those strong storms all the time.
Yeah, we get that downslope wind coming over the divide.
Yes, big sky country.
Yep.
He is 1 hour from the entrance to Yellowstone. So where do you think who I'm visiting?
Yeah, right. I'd say so.
I
Jeez.
mean, he's gonna know all the places to go, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, usually I go through in the winter. In the summertime, it's so crowded in there.
Okay, well, that's not gonna happen. Just cancel that trip.
Well, we went in the fall and it was lovely. It was like
Oh,
the
yeah.
third week of September and it was not too crowded. We found parking places. Kids were back in school. It was lovely.
Yeah. We like it in September, the end of September, try to get the fall colors, but usually, oh, you should have been here last week, or wait till next week, they'll be changing.
That's what we hit. They weren't really changed. They were just starting to change. So we were just a little too early, but then the next week they had snow and I would not have wanted to drive in the snow. And so, nope, I'm glad we were there when we were.
Yeah, where are you from?
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
You get snow there.
We do, which is how I got that snowflake picture.
Yeah,
But
okay.
you don't normally, I mean, we do get some blizzards here too, you know, but I'm sure nothing compared to what you guys get with the big open spaces and the wind howling and.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird some years. That one year we ranked above Buffalo, New York for the amount of snowfall.
Really?
But usually we get around 50, 55 inches for the year. But
Wow. That's
we
a
had
lot.
105 that year.
Wow.
Not all at once.
Yeah, but still it adds up and you still get the piles.
Well, we get Chinooks too. They come through and it all melts, and then next week it dumps it down again.
Let's see, I'm just making sure. I'm just gonna talk about a couple of our meetings. I want to start pretty much on time, but I want to make sure everybody got in. So the link, just so you know, is always the same for all of our meetings. So that's why it's in the top of every email that goes out, is the link that you need for all of them. So when you get a list of workshops, it's right at the top. So you can just click there, and it's always on our Facebook page also. I just repeat it for every workshop that that Chris and I have planned.
Oh,
And so the next ones are on just April 6th at 7 o'clock. So first, to start off with, we close our April competition at 10 o'clock on Thursday, April 1st. So you have a day and a half to get in there. And then on Tuesday, April 6th, mark your calendar, 7 o'clock. Chris is teaching action and motion photography, so we can get ready for the Wild Thing competition coming up. And the Wild Thing can be anything from somebody dancing to a kid playing to, whatever, something action oriented. It's up to you. But she's going to show motion photography and action in case you don't have something for that category. And then April 20th, we're doing the workshop that Teresa recommended, which was several people, and Chris would like to know, if you're going to do this, you'll be on screen taking a picture from where you began to where you finish. So for example, if I were doing the picture behind me, I'd show my straight out of camera photo and then how I cropped it. And I would just walk through the steps in Photoshop, for example, or create something like that. Gayla, I'm going to mute you since you've got some background noise there. But feel free to unmute you when you've got that handled. And then, so she's going to go through several photos. So I believe Chris has planned 8 minutes for each person who wants to do it, and you can have 3 or 4 photos ready. So if it's a really complicated photo, you might spend all your 8 minutes explaining how you cut out your subject and blurred your background and dropped in a background and all that. Or it might be just a really simple, I cropped it, I added, I did this in Lightroom, and then I did this step in Photoshop. And kind of show about how we created our ideas and got them going. And then I'm super excited about this. On May 25th, Hunt's Photo is sponsoring Introduction to Bird Photography by Cameron Darnell. He's out of South Carolina. He is 19 years old. He's in high school. He's phenomenal. So I paid for one of his workshops and did it. And that's why I got him as one of our presenters. You will be blown away by his photography. It's phenomenal. For a kid, he's brilliant. And he's not using great equipment either. So that's on Tuesday, May 25th. And on May 1st, Larry Gaskill, who's on this workshop, is, sorry, I said May 5th and it's not, it's May 18th. Then Larry is going to do night photography and do kind of some basics on night photography and in his ideas on that. So we have a lot of others, but I'll stop there. And I'll have everybody, if you would mute, anybody have any questions before we begin with Dennis presenting? Great, if everybody would mute yourself. And I'll tell you a little bit about Dennis. So Dennis was our judge for March competition, and you can see him here right below me in the, depending on how you have your speaker view, yes. And he lives in Montana, an hour from the entrance to Yellowstone. So awesome place. So he is in PSA, Photographic Society of America, which we're a member of. He is an FPSA and MPSA. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that means. So the FPSA behind his name means that he was drafted to volunteer in PSA. So like, we're going to give that to Jerry, like for his name, he's going to be an FPSA. And he's done, he got drafted at the conference in Spokane. The PSA does a big conference every year. Of course, there wasn't one last year. It was in Spokane. And he does a lot of work with that. And if you get the PSA magazine, I know Jim Wolpe is a member. I know Peter Dominowski is a member. Dennis is featured with the 365 days. So every day he gives a new assignment of something to go photograph. And so that's something you've been doing for a really long time for the gallery on that. So anyway, Dennis was volunteer for PSA, and he volunteered to judge our March competition. And then he had a lot of ideas for quick improvements on the photos. And really only one of these is slightly complicated. The rest are super simple changes. So, but I think you'll be really, really impressed with the changes. So here's the first one. This is a novice entry. This is novice number 1. We're not using the names of anybody, but if it's about your photo or you have a comment afterwards, feel free to unmute and jump right in. So Dennis, you wanted to talk a little bit about your thoughts on what you did when you saw photos?
Yeah, I mean, this is in general, but if I saw something that didn't look quite right, I did a lot of work. I looked at the histogram, which is something you can do in your camera easy enough too. And wanted to make sure if it looked overexposed that it was blocked out on either the right side or for being too light, or on the left side if it's all too dark. And you can also tell if there's enough contrast if the curve doesn't fit the whole screen. It usually comes out kind of muddy. In a way, this one looks a little bit muddy here. But then I would, usually I would just go into levels and just move the sliders. And that's about all I did on these photos here. There's a few that I did a little bit more, but not many. I did a lot of cropping then too.
So we'll see that as we go along. What if you're not familiar with what he's talking about with the histogram. Unfortunately, Avery is not on our junior member. She had messaged me she was going to be on, so hopefully she'll figure it out and get on. So this was the judge's comment on that flower picture. This is such a sharp and interesting bloom that it deserves to be shown off by cropping on it. It could use a little contrast to remove the muddy look. So this is how he cropped it. So this is the reworked photo that Dennis did. So I'm going to put them side by side. And I was just astounded at that quick change. He's not using, all his texture sliders and his dehaze or any of that stuff in Lightroom. That is a crop and using his histogram. So I'll show you the reworked histogram is at the top and the original is at the bottom. And so Dennis, you want to talk a little bit about what you moved here, why you moved it?
Yeah, I did move, like on the left side there, that's the blacks. So I just moved that dark slider there over till it met the curve going up. And sometimes you can go a little bit over if you got true black in the picture. And then I did boost a little bit on the right side. It's kind of flattened out. That's the whites. And so I moved that over a little bit. And so, I mean, that was basically it.
So does anybody have any questions about that? You kind of got to move your things around a little bit, but you can, if you've got the pictures of who's here, but you can see that there's hardly any whites on the bottom original histogram. And he moved that slider so that he got the whites right against the edge and the blacks right against the edge. And that's what gave him the difference in those photos.
Yeah, that plus the cropping.
Yes. So, yeah, the cropping made a big difference here. Let me get back to my. Okay, we're going to have to remove those or they're going to go with me. Backwards. Why aren't those clearing? Oh, good. We're gonna have arrows on everything. They're all drawings. There we go. All right. So what he did on the photo that you can see is that he just cropped and he used the histogram to darken and to lighten. And here, once again, are the two photos. All right. That side by side. And so I just don't use my histogram that much. I'm so busy doing elaborate stuff. So I thought that was really helpful.
Mhm. I tend to start that way and then do more later, do more tweaking.
So we're going to look at, we kind of bounce back and forth between advanced and novice here. So we're going to jump up to a advanced. So here was the advanced entry. And this is what he wrote. It's a great subject. You didn't try to stop the propeller. With planes, with propellers, it's good to have them blurred to show that it's turning. You did a good job on sharpness. Gray sky was the problem. If you look at your histogram, there's pretty much nothing on the right side. It's about 1.5 stops underexposed, which your camera tried to make the scene 18% gray. You might consider cropping off some of the negative space on the left and the top to move your subject out of the middle of the frame. Now, these are the judges' comments that you can read as you were voting for Club Vote. All these comments were in there. And so he actually just, Dennis just followed his own advice and did that photo like he had suggested. So let me put those side by side. Isn't that incredible? So I was really surprised that he cropped from the front, because you always leave the airplane, you know, you leave something room to go into, but it really worked well getting that out of dead center and cropping from the top. And you want to talk a little bit more about what you were doing here? Because this one you did a little bit more complex.
Yeah, I did
Thanks,
cheat a bit
Dennis.
on this. I used Luminar and replaced the sky with one of my own. I was kind of curious how it would pick up the gray, recognize that as sky, and it did a good job. But as far as moving it over on the left-hand side there, that smoke behind it is important, and I figured that should be included. And it does give you a little bit more tension when it's going out of the frame like that.
So the Luminar skies, you can use Luminar. And by the way, Photoshop has added this also. So if you have a CC Photoshop, which is really the only way to have it unless you have a really old version, Photoshop now has sky replacement included. They just did that update 3 weeks ago, maybe. And if you want to know how to use it, go out to mattk.com. That's Matt Kluskowski's website, and he has a free tutorial on how to use Photoshop to replace skies. Now, if you use that in competition, it has to be your own sky. There's lots of skies in there that are fantastic, and that's not what you want to do. You want to use, you have to use your own. Your own sky
image
must be in any kind of competition. And in anything other than nature, you can replace the sky. A few things, like if you're competing in PSA travel, you can. If it's a photojournalism, you can't replace it. But in our own personal competitions, if it's not nature, you can replace the skies. So that's a great way with our crappy Indiana gray skies to do that. Does anybody have any questions about this? I'll show you the histograms here. So you can really see a difference on the histograms going on here. And how much the original was over on the right because it was so gray and very little black, and how Dennis moved that over into the middle.
No, that's the other way around.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the other. You moved it over to lighten it up. Yep.
Right.
Sorry, the original is the bottom. So he cropped he used the histogram to brighten, and he changed the sky luminar. And I'm going to show you again. Let's go back here and talk about what you moved. So this is what Dennis is talking about when he talks about he moved levels or he used the histogram. Dennis, do you want to talk about what happens when we move this to the right?
Yeah, what you're actually doing is just stretching out those pixels. Like if you look at what's down on the left-hand side there on the original, you've got the little bumps there. They show up on the top one too, but they're stretched out a bit more. So all you do is just hold on one of those sliders and just slide it one way or the other, and it does all the work for you.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're taking this guy and moving it this way. And then you can move your midtones. This guy's the midtone, and move your midtones lighter or darker, and the same with your whites.
Actually, if you just move your white slider over to the left, that pretty much takes care of everything.
That moves everything, okay?
Yeah, you don't need to worry about the middle one. Middle one is for the midtones. So it just depends. If you got a lot of contrast or something, you might want to move the middle one to lighten up your shadows.
So we covered that. And so again, there's the difference in those photos. Okay, and this is novice entry 2. And a lot of this was Dennis going off on, it seems dark, life's decay. And it actually just turned out to be our junior photographer, you know, who's not familiar yet with how to edit her photos.
I thought you was real philosophical on that.
Making it dark. So Dennis made it much brighter. So here's the combination of those two, the before and the after. And that was just your histogram note, not even a crop on this, right, Dennis?
Yeah, I did get rid of that damaged portion there on the leaf. I just cloned that out on the one petal.
Perfect. And we can see the difference here, how you really on the top reworked how much you did spread out those pixels to get us a brighter color.
Yeah, there wasn't very much done on the white end, but just on the dark end.
If you have any questions as we're going, feel free to jump in. And so those were the two again. Okay, I don't think Peter's on yet, is he? Okay. Is this Peter? No, this is somebody else.
No, that's my photo.
Mike Koenig.
Oh, it's Mike Koenig's photo.
Hi,
Okay,
everybody.
great. So this is Mike's photo, and I thought it was spectacular. I was like, oh my God, I'd kill to have that photo in my collection. And so this was the Dennis's response. I like that you didn't give up and leave after sunset. The river leads the eye into the scene. The reflection of the moon really helps create an interest. The slow shutter speed works well on the reflection, but it's too long to stop the moon's motion. You have to choose if you like the smooth water or a sharp, well-exposed moon. Maybe consider cropping the moon out with a more square format. And so that is what Dennis did, is he didn't like the fuzzy moon because to get the soft water, of course, you have to make a fuzzy moon. The moon moves a little bit. And of course, you could take two pictures and composite them. So what he did was crop it. So here's the two together. I think they're both phenomenal myself. I think they're both really cool. So just a picture within a picture. Dennis, do you want to talk about this a little bit? And then Mike's on if he wants to talk.
Yeah, okay, since this was a nature one, you couldn't, I was thinking that you could have taken a separate picture of the moon and put over it if it was open. You know, but since it wasn't open, the only way to get rid of it is to crop it off. But I did crop in on the left-hand side there to get rid of some of those light spots in the trees too.
Yeah, I like the square format. I think that would be another rendition of that image.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was
thought
great.
it gives you a whole different feel because you lose all the blue and you go with just the warm tones, Mike. But I did think that that was really interesting that Dennis, that this right over here on the left-hand photo, that might be something you might want to darken just so our eye doesn't travel over there too much.
You know, what's interesting is I lightened all that over there. 'Cause I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I do also. That adds to the story. That log adds a lot to that story, I think.
Yeah, I kind of liked it because the sun would just set. So it was, you know, a little bit of the glow on the trees was the way I envisioned it, you know, from being there. It was a little brighter than what the actual image came out. So I lightened all that up a little bit to show that. But, you know, you can do it either way.
Yeah, one thing, your eye tends to go to the brightest part. So it's going to go to that log and just right out of the image.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? Did anybody like one or over the other or like both, or what were anybody else's thoughts if you want to unmute?
I was gonna
Again,
say, what about if you did it, I mean, I don't know, maybe it'd be too many trees on the left, but like it's almost like a panorama by cropping the moon out and leaving the left because you got the shore and everything.
Mhm.
You could try it.
Yeah, I think for me, you lose enough of the water though. I think it may not work that way. I'd have to play around with it and see, but I like the curves in the river there. So
Yeah,
Yeah, the
absolutely.
S curve was great, yeah. But you might be able to, what she's saying is if you just crop off some of the top then and just keep your gold.
yeah.
You get more of a long, narrow format as opposed to cropping out any of the water at the bottom too.
Yeah, what's interesting about this photo, just a little background, there was about 30 photographers there from the Charlevoix Photography Club at the same time. So it wasn't like I suddenly came up with this great image with a bunch of people standing there doing the same thing. So
I love that location, Mike.
oh yeah, it's beautiful. I'd love to go back. Someday I will.
So the original version, to me, I like the log on the left. And in the reworked version, the Dennis did, you've got the reflection of the moon in the water, but no moon. So there's a little bit of inconsistency there, I think.
Yeah, interesting. That's true.
Yeah. So the softness of the moon, because of the longer shutter speed is, yeah, it isn't a sharp moon, but it's one of those happy accidents, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great image either way, Mike.
It is, it's gorgeous.
Kudos on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so this was basically just a crop. I don't think Dennis played around with it at all. So the two images, and then he didn't do the histogram at all. So another novice image of this pup under household pets. And Dennis wrote that this dog's too cute to judge. The face is an important part. It's in sharp focus. The areas in the background besides the subject aren't important and could be cropped. And you might try working the shadow areas to brighten them up a bit. And this is Dennis's reworked. And those are the two side by side. So the he cropped it and warmed up the dog. Do you want to talk about that for a minute, Dennis, what you did here?
Oh, that's been a week since I did that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's obvious that you, you know, you cropped in and that got rid of all those distractions in the back.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to lighten up that eye on the dog's left eye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I did that with just levels or if I cheated and went into Luminar with it.
Does anybody have any comments on this? Oops. You'd have a lot of comments because you can't.
I like the tighter crop. You know, I think you fill the frame and the warming up shows some of the brown tints in the fur. So I think that's great.
I would have gone in,
I would have come over here
darkened.
because my brother went dead.
I would have gone in and darkened, once it was cropped, I would have darkened that photo behind him. That's
Right,
distracting to me.
Yeah, the red and stuff behind. Yeah, vignette
Well, on
would be
the other
really
side.
helpful here.
On the other side, that bright one
Yes,
on the right
left
side.
ear, by the left ear,
Yep,
that big white
Yeah, that-
area, I would have really darkened that a lot.
yep.
I might have added a
vignette.
big net to it too. I usually add one on all of mine, but not a real one that you don't know it's a big net, but it really does help to darken the edges a bit. That might have taken care of that picture.
Okay, here's an advanced image, beautiful butterfly here. And Dennis wrote, nice and sharp. I like the way you handled the background. There's a lot to take in. The monarch is probably the most likely subject and easily missed. The out of focus pink blossoms draw too much attention. You might try working on the area with just the bottom bloom, butterfly, and bug on the leaf. And so that is exactly what Dennis did. And this is what he came up with. So here they are side by side. And I mean, I love both of these, but the butterfly is just striking with the cropped in. I thought, you know, the pattern, if you haven't already seen it, is, you know, fill the frame. Dennis is just cropping the crap out of these photos to really get in close on the subject and simplify the photo dramatically. Any thoughts on this? Anybody like it, dislike it? Is the photographer on and want to discuss it? Okay. So that was just simply a crop, nothing else. And there's the difference. So this was a novice entry. The photographer is on, Dennis. And Dennis wrote, I like how you adjust the stamen sharp and use the rest of the flower as background. Their curvature keeps the eye from wandering. The out of focus curved edges of the petal add interest. You might try moving the stamen out of the center by cropping off the part of the background in the bottom right. The histogram shows that the exposure could have been increased. So this is how it was reworked. And I'll show you those side by side. That's the difference. And so here's the histogram reworked. So this is what Dennis meant by that there was room, that there could be room to work, is that you could pull all of this over to completely fill like you have up on top.
Yeah, it's actually just move that white slider over to the left.
Yeah, that's what it's drawing the line, just bring it over.
Yeah.
Dennis, actually, while I'm on here, do you want to talk about the eyedroppers for our novice?
Yeah,
entrance?
this one, I don't know if it's the best one, but if you have something that you know is white, if you just click on the white eyedropper there, then go to that, what you know is white in your image and click on it, it'll automatically change everything. That works for like your light balance and white balance and also your exposure, it'll do the changing. And if it doesn't work, then you just get back out of it and do something else.
Is that done in Photoshop?
I know you can do it in Elements. I mean, in Photoshop, but I'm mad at Adobe because they started charging subscriptions. So I've got Elements now just because it's mine. But I
Okay.
think you can do it in Lightroom too. I'm not that familiar
Yeah,
with it.
you can definitely do this in Lightroom, Irene. It's just pulling these sliders.
I just didn't recognize the eyedroppers, that's all.
Yep,
Yeah,
they're right on the side of the histogram.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a black and then also your mid-tones, so. That's the three
Okay.
droppers.
Can we see the before and after again?
Yep, that comes up automatically here. So he put a square crop on it and then brightened it.
I really like it.
Yeah, it's really so vibrant and pretty, and it really shows off. This is Irene, is the photographer here, Dennis, that was
Okay.
speaking. How it shows off how sharp you got this. This is one of your macro shots, Irene?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so I think you nailed it as far as getting that sharp and having everything else support the subject. Does anybody else have any feedback?
Yeah, I love it. I love it with the square crop and I love the brighter, that it's, you know, brighter version. I think it's a lovely picture, Irene.
Yeah, and you
thank
don't need that thing down in the right-hand corner there.
Right, the green, yeah.
It doesn't add anything to it.
No, it doesn't. Very nice. Thank you.
So this is an advanced entry. Aren't those the coolest birds? And Dennis wrote, great capture with the two subjects quite opposite of each other. The tree in the center works well. I think that you probably don't need as much of it, and it could be moved slightly to the left so both birds would be the same distance from the border. The gold light seems maybe too strong and similar tones of the bird feathers. Cutting that back a little helps keep the viewer's eye where it belongs. So this is the rework, very subtle. Let me put them side by side. It's not a, you know, it's not, so, but he put the birds similar distances from the edge of the photo, which was really interesting. I never would have thought of that, to balance them. And then you can see he took it a little bit more into the blue tones very subtly, but the trunk and the background was really warm, and that was with the birds. So he turned it a little bit more towards blue, which I thought was a really interesting idea. I wouldn't have thought of that. I wouldn't have done that. What's everybody's thoughts on that? Is the photographer on? I don't know who the photographer is.
I believe that's Peter, and he's traveling today, so.
Okay, yeah, he said he was going to try to get on tonight, but obviously didn't.
I've liked all the other changes. On this one, I prefer the original. I think it's brighter. I think the reworked one is almost a little too dark for me.
Interesting. Yeah, because I kind of like, I mean, I like my photos warmer anyway. And so I liked the warmth that Peter had in his photo, but I thought it was a really interesting idea to just take it into cooler tones to give you a contrast to the yellow of the birds.
Actually, what I did on this was just reduce the saturation on the yellows. And you don't notice much difference in the feathers, but you do in that right spot on the left-hand side there especially.
Well, and the tree trunk to me went,
Yeah.
you know, is more magenta than warm.
I do like the crop.
Yes, getting them the extra space off of the left.
Yeah, I like what Teresa just wrote. That's exactly.
Okay, I don't know that I have any.
All
What
right.
did she write? Can you read it? Because I don't
Yeah.
have access to that.
I like the crop, but I also prefer the warm.
Okay.
Something I just noted in the reworked one is that the claws of the birds seem to stand out more, and that actually tells a story in itself.
Mhm.
Good catch, Jim. That's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah. Also, it seemed the tree seems straighter, but I think it's just the crop that you
Yeah.
lose some of the tilt in the crop.
Plus,
Okay, go ahead.
there appears to be a little bit more detail in the bark of the tree than also the reworked one. So that'd be my preferred way to go then also.
Yeah, so lots of options, you know, I mean, it just
Yeah.
shows you how you can play with it and find what works for you.
Yeah.
Obviously already a great photo. Okay, we have a novice entry. I just love this. And when Dennis sent me a rework, I'm like, that's a great photo. Why would you rework that for a novice? I thought that was a great photo. So this is what he sent is the diagonal arrangement of the blooms draws interest. I like the flowers I've chosen for this arrangement. The daffodil does have some spots of decay on the petals. Since this is not a nature competition, you can clone them out as well as some of the spots on the nicely textured background. I might add a fairly strong vignette to tone down the lighter area at the top. And this is the reworked one. And let me put those side by side. And I thought Dennis did a great job with that, adding the vignette is what darkens that background. And I thought that made that a lot more compelling. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Oops.
I like the vignette. I think it really helps to darken that background a lot, but it also darkened the daffodil. I think I would have gone back in and lightened some of the upper petals there on the daffodil to make it a little bit brighter on the daffodil itself.
Good point. Lawrence, no, I think Bernadette, is this one of yours?
Yes. And yes, thank you very much for reworking this. And I just like to share with you this picture. So it's actually the texture, if you look at it, that's actually the dashboard of my car. And I knew, I had, and those are old flowers. I think I was about to throw them, but I like the color, the red, the white, and the purple. It was just so striking. So, and I wanted to arrange it so that I could see the flowers. So it's that's why the oblique positioning of the flowers. But it was a good catch. He really saw it that yes, the daffodil was already wilting. So yeah, that was good that he did some work on that. And yes, so that is the and I like the rework. Thank you very much.
Yeah, something you could do. I mean, and I have done, but I didn't mess around that long with this, but you can make a copy of the original one on the left and then work on the copy. And like here where the vignette kind of does go over the daffodil, you could go in and mask that out and bring it out from down below.
Okay.
Bernadette, are you on Lightroom?
Yes, I did that in Lightroom. Well, I could do that in Lightroom. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but I mean, it would also just be using your adjustment brush in Lightroom to just brush that
Yeah,
off.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
The right flower has a lot more detail than the left pane.
Mhm.
So the darkening really brought the detail out more.
Okay.
Also in Lightroom, there is, I think it's under detail, the detail box. You can
Okay.
add a vignette in Lightroom as well. So you don't just have to use, you know, like an adjustment brush or anything on the edges. You can actually add a vignette. And it adds the vignette after you crop. So if you crop something, the vignette is still a vignette on what you've cropped, not on the whole image.
Yeah, and Denise, I meant to vignette in Lightroom, but then just brush off if it got on too close to the white daffodil. But yeah, you could do everything in Lightroom and you'd get great photos, Bernadette, for novice. There's, you know, little reason to move past that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
all the
great.
comments.
All your, yeah, you had a great, what, you won 2 or 3 things, Bernadette, this month. You've just, your work's just improving and improving. So good job.
Yeah. Thank you.
So he removed white spots. Oh, that's another thing. See these little white dandruffy things on your dashboard, Bernadette? So you can use the healing brush in Lightroom, the spot healer, to get rid of those.
Yes. And
So
also I should clean my dashboard.
now we know.
That's like my desk is. When I take a picture on the desk, I have to go through and do all of that.
Uh-huh.
So he vignetted, we darkened the background using the histogram. So that was the final. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a moment and just tell you a little bit about, I mentioned that Dennis has an MPSA behind his name also. And that means that he has competed in Photographic Society of America internationally. He has over 1,500 acceptances. So I'm going to tell you that he had to have had at least 10,000 entries. Dennis, it's probably more, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably more like 20,000 entries to get 1,500 acceptances.
Well, that 1,500 is for the MPSA. The next one up, you need 3,000, and I about 75 acceptances off from that. But
I'm
but
just saying,
I did
to get
keep
1,500 acceptances, you would have had to have a crazy number of entries.
Yeah, I
in
did
international
start keeping
competition.
track of my entry fees, and I was over $2,000. I decided, think of the equipment I could have bought, but then what would I have done with the equipment? You know.
So just to give you an idea of this, I've been competing in PSA for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I have just earned my first star in mono, and he has his 4th star in mono. And then he has his 7th galaxy in color. I have 1 star. So to get a galaxy, how many stars is that, Dennis?
You go 5 stars, and then you go into the galleries where you need 3 images
Galaxy,
of
yeah.
25 titles.
And so the point is, you have to have so many good photos. Like, I'm trying to now apply for my 2nd stars, and I just don't have that many winning photos, because it took me to win that. I had to enter so many photos. So he's really been at this a long time and has a huge collection. And then he very soon, if he has 3,000 international acceptances, he gets to put add an extra letter to his name. So crazy stuff. So thank you so much, Dennis, for taking your evening to be with us.
Here's
So
something they used to do this. They gave you little stars here. I mean, little tags here, but they don't do that anymore.
So here's an advanced entry collage. And Dennis wrote, "This is a creative attempt to show the variety of May flowers. I would like to see one main subject, probably without the overall green tint on that one. Something you might try is converting this to an abstract monochrome. It would bring out various shapes, so it'd be easier for the viewer to identify. I'm not sure about the vertical banding that could be taken as part of the abstract or removed." And so that's what Dennis did, is he turned this into a monochrome. And there they are side by side. So very different. You want to talk about this one a little bit, Dennis?
Well, now in the monochrome there, you can really see the banding down, especially on the right-hand side there, and on the left too. I'm not sure just exactly what the maker did to put these all together, but I'm sure there was different color flowers in there than what you'd see with a green tinted one.
Mm-hmm. Is the photographer on and want to discuss it? Anybody have any thoughts, feelings about it one way or the other? Here's what he did. Obviously, once you monochrome it, you can see the top one. It's all, you know, on the left for grays and what have you.
Yeah.
So he
was
just put that to monochrome.
It was somewhat dark anyway on the original.
Mm-hmm. With the all green and not much else, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and here's another advanced entry in flowers. So watch this one closely. He makes some subtle changes. I like the way you have the arrangement on the table. The out of focus background makes it a supporting element. Something to remember is that the eye normally drawn to the lightest area of the image. In this case, it's drawn to the fire on the right side of the picture. The wall in the background also has this effect. If you wanted the fire to be part of the image, you might consider changing the position so it's directly behind the flowers. If the fireplace is not wide enough to be a background for the entire subject, try moving back as far as you can and as much telephoto as you can to spread out the background. So here's the rework, but I'm going to go right to the two. So what he's referring to is this right-hand side with this bright light, because your eye just goes straight over to that bright light. And then your eye goes to that bright tan wall behind. So you can see the difference here that he made by pretty much adding a vignette and cropping. Is the photographer on? No, okay. Dennis, do you have any thing you want to share? I think you added a little bit of saturation here, or maybe a little bit of lightning. That blue pot looks a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I don't know if is a histogram on this or not. I don't know if no. Okay, something I mean, with that fireplace, I wonder if it could be, the flowers could be centered in front of the fireplace so that you'd have the orange fire behind it. I don't know what the setup is of the room, you know, sometimes you just can't get over to where you want to be. But.
Right. Well, I think it was given this picture that you had, it was an intelligent crop to get rid of that and then try to get that wall to be as least distracting as possible.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Crop. I was going to say I like the crop, but I think the vignette on the top is too much, the darkening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to darken that wall, Denise, since it was so much lighter than the flowers. Yeah,
to me, the dark draws my eye away from the flowers as much as too much light draws my eye away. So
I agree, Denise. I think it's a little bit strong for me, but you know, the other thing I would do, I'm curious, I would level it. It looks to me like the thing's slanting to the left.
Yeah.
Well, the fireplace there looks square. I was wondering about that too, but I think it's just the angle. I mean, we're at a round table and the way it's positioned, it kind of throws it off.
It could be. Yeah, maybe it's a illusion.
Yeah, you got vertical lines on the fireplace wall.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So this was on novice entry 6. Is the photographer on? So this is what Dennis said. This really shows a story. You managed to have only 2 snowflakes on the subject. I think that is handled well. There could be a little boost in the blacks. And while I like seeing all of the feeders hanger up to where they join, if you consider cropping in closer to the feeder, it would put your subject into a better position in the composition. And so this is Dennis's reworked image. I just love this photo. And so what he did is a crop, and that's the difference in the crop, is that he was saying even though he liked seeing the hanger, he wanted to fill the frame a lot more. So he cropped in on that string so that we saw a lot more of the bird and had a lot less of the top of the photo. I love this. I love the crop because it just fills the frame a lot more. Does anybody else have any thoughts?
Yeah, I really like the crop. I also like the fact that the crop makes the snowflake seem even bigger, like this poor little bird is really in a blizzard.
Dennis, do you think you darkened this at all? It looks just a little bit, like especially behind the snow house seems a little bit more of an intense chocolate. And maybe the birdhouse is just a scad darker.
I might have been trying, to see if I could get some detail in the snow on the roof, and I decided no, it wasn't worth it, and I left it somewhat adjusted. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
It does look
just,
a little darker.
Yep, so it does look just a shade darker, but
Yeah.
beautiful photo. I don't know who took that, but I thought they did a great job with the snow and a bird feeder and all. Okay, so this is the advanced entry. Keep off. Great capture. I wonder how you happen to get the cat to move in just the right position under the sign. I like the position of the eyes right under the board. The pole does divide the image with nothing important to the right, so I might consider cropping it and leaving part of the pole as a framing item. So this was his crop. And this is the two side by side. So because that pole sliced the tiger in half, Dennis just got rid of him and kept the pole to frame it, because the tiger's framed on the top, the side, and the bottom. And there's no color adjustment to this. It's just a crop. Any thoughts? Is the artist on?
One thing
I
with
wondered
that
if-
back end of the tiger cropped off, he isn't going to jump at you very well.
Is this a black pine? Is this taken at Black Pine? Is a photographer on? I just wondered if it was Sita or Jai. Those are two tigers I donated to them originally.
I like the crop, and I like that it got rid of that board that was next to the pole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that didn't support it at all, did it?
No. No,
That definitely makes a statement.
Yeah, and it also really draws your eye to the keep off with those tiger eyes ready to eat you. So that was very powerful.
I think I would almost be tempted to crop in a little bit on the left and make it more of a portrait format. Because the stuff on the left, there's nothing important there either. I mean, it's just, gravel and fence. And if you cropped in on that, and then the tiger would be really the focus, right?
Along those same lines, you could go all the way in on the face and just have the sign above him and just his face.
Right, exactly. Depending on how pixelated it would look when you zoom in that much.
Right.
Right now,
I
the
think you
tiger.
can. I think you can crop in there. I was just looking at it now. I would think, how about get rid of all that pole and the board on the bottom? Just leave the one board running across with a sign on it, as well as cropping off on the left.
Right now, I'm thinking that the cropped image has the tiger's face and the keep off right smack dab in the middle of the image. So if you crop in more, then that's going to be off centered.
Well, if you crop off on the right, it would still be centered.
But if you crop off on the left to get rid of, as Denise was suggesting, the crappy fence and the fence behind the fence, and then you'd move it off center and also emphasize the Tigger more.
Yeah.
And on the board on the bottom, I like the board, but I just would just have a little bit of it, because it does, and just a little bit of the board on the right, because it does all give it a good, it does help with the framing, and not just ending it bad weeds. Fun photo, fun catch. So that's just a crop. Okay, and so we have a advanced entry here. This dog, and you do have good sharpness on the face of Finn. The look on his face is great. There isn't a lot more that is sharp. You might consider straightening the image and then cropping closer to emphasize the sharpness. So this is the rework. I'll put those side by side. So Dennis both straightened here. You can see the tilt on the wall over in the original. So he did a little bit of straightening on that, and then has the paw kind of reaching out right in the corner. Sorry, I didn't mean to click past that. Reaching out right in the corner. Any thoughts on that? So, is the photographer on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, David, do you want to talk about Finn?
Yeah, it was kind of meant to look like a selfie. So I don't know if you've worked with animals, but getting him to reach up at me like that was quite the effort. So yeah, and it was a 17mm lens, so there really wasn't much straight past his eye.
Do you like the crop, or do you think it kind of changes where you were going with the selfie concept, Dave?
It changes a little, but his foot stays in it. So that was probably the main point of it, was having his foot up by the camera, like he's holding the camera, I guess, or holding a camera. So
and smiling.
yeah, and kind of a wild eye when he's jumping at me like that. So.
It does
Good
look like I
idea
lightened that a bit too. Yeah.
And you can see the rework there on the photo, how that he expanded his range there, and a crop and a straighten. Any thoughts, Denise? You were saying something?
I was just going to say, you know, the titles I think are so important to the photos that are posted, because like I wouldn't have, like, you have to read the title to get the feeling of this picture. And then the minute you read that title, you're like, man, he was right on. You know, that's a great idea.
Right. But yeah, it's the title is Finn Takes a Selfie.
Whereas otherwise, if it was a normal dog portrait and he wasn't doing a selfie, it would bother me that I didn't see his feet. But because it's a selfie, and you know, you never get a total selfie, you know, you don't get your feet in the picture and stuff. I mean, it ends up making total sense.
Well, and the distortion is kind of part of a selfie too. You know, you always look.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Your head looks weird, or the background looks weird, or whatever. Yeah, it's very fun. Any other thoughts? Okay, this was a novice entry. This actually won club vote on this. I like the lighting and the way the orange eyes really stand out. The color tones are great throughout. You might consider cropping off the top and the right to move the cat's head into a better position in the composition. I don't know who this is. I know I saw it one, but I don't know who it was. Bernadette, is this another one of yours? No, right?
No, that's not mine.
This is the reworked one. Using the ideas he mentioned, you can see he just cropped in on the top and the left to bring, to focus us a little bit more on the kitty. Does that feel too tight to anybody? What do you guys think? Do you like it?
I like
Nice.
it. It's more in the rule of thirds by cropping in like that, and it really accents the whiskers.
So that it was just a crop. That's all he did, and there it is again. I just think again, it's that fill the frame concept of getting that tighter, and there's enough room for the whiskers that you don't feel like they're getting too close to the edge.
Brenda?
Yep.
On that crop, say you wanted to print that photograph, is that crop a standard size or is that custom or?
Yeah, so on all of these, he's just cropping for the best composition. So they wouldn't be a standard print. You know, and that's, you know, like that's how I crop. I crop to what I want, and then I print it to that. But you're not choosing, Dennis, don't let me put words in your mouth. You're not choosing an 8x10 instead of you know, some other format, right?
No, like in this case here, if you wanted a 5x7, you'd cut off on the right-hand side just to fit it in.
Mm-hmm.
Or something else you can do is print it with a mat around it. You know, so it would fit an 8x10 or 11x14 format.
And just have a little bit more matte on one's.
Yeah, show that, I mean, make it look like it's matted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does that answer your question, Gail?
Yes, I was just wondering because, you know, sometimes when you're putting them into print, the size isn't standard, you run into some problems. That's a good idea to mat it. Yeah, thank you.
So everybody, Gail is a brand new member. So he just joined. He is from my Florida photo club, you know, that doesn't have anything virtual. So Gail just joined, and he lives half the year in Sebring, where I live, and then half the year in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina.
Welcome, Gail.
Welcome, Gail. Yeah.
Thank you.
Advanced entry, these tulips. Is the photographer here want to jump in?
I'm here.
Okay, so this is Jean McQuillan with the tulips, and this is what Dennis said. The depth of field was nicely handled to make your subject stand out. The background behind it is quite neutral and also works well. You might consider cropping off the two tulips at the left and crop off the top to move the subject closer to the frame. Something that you could have done, that could have been done, would be try moving the camera a little to the left, so you would be using more of your background. You would need to watch what might be happening with any mergers with other blooms. And this is the reworked photo. I'll put those side by side.
I have to say that Denise said the same thing, that I should have cropped it. I like the it did get a group pick, so I just like, you know, like it as it is, but I might just try to crop myself.
Yeah, I thought it's part of that fill the frame thing, Jean. I thought the crop really brought my attention to this, your big featured tulip, where here I don't even think I noticed which tulip you were trying to feature.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other thoughts? Also, he cropped a bunch off the top, which I think helped it, you know, just bring that to, you know, our attention. You know, there's nothing happening in the background to make the background interesting.
The one thing to remember on this, you do what you like, forget what everybody else says.
That's what I try to tell my wife.
It doesn't work telling wives. She kicked you out of the chair now.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's your picture. You can sit there. So,
do you like the crop better, Denise?
Absolutely. But Gene never listens to me. He never asks my opinion, so he tries on his own.
I do that with my wife too, and then she wins and I don't.
Well, Well, Jean's won on some things and gotten honorable mentions at the end of the year and stuff like that. And I would have, it was a picture like that I would never have even entered. And so he just ignores me because he's like, well, you weren't right on them all.
Yeah.
So all that was a crop, and one more time, that's the difference. I have to go with the crop on this one. It's so much prettier, I think, with the crop. It really brings my attention to this guy. I'd go with the wife on this one. So this is a really interesting one. This is Jim Mulpey's, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Jim's here, Dennis, and so here is the original, very cool photo by Jim.
I just love that shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shadow on the canyon wall really gives a feeling of the height of the bridge. I really like this scene and the way you handled it. It might not have been possible judging from the rock at the bottom right, but moving closer to the bridge would have kept the image from being divided into two subjects. The shadow would be more of the subject with the bridge, keeping the eye from leaving the image. Okay, so here's the reworked image. Let me show you them side by side. And I did not guess what he did. So can you guess?
Distortion play.
Oh, good for you, Jim. I missed it.
Well done, Dennis. Very
Yeah, I
nice.
thought that worked better.
Yeah.
So
I got to play around with this,
Yeah. I know exactly where that's at in Lightroom too. So,
well, this was in Elements for me.
Okay, so I missed it. What did you do? Distortion?
Well, I selected the right hand side and then I just compressed that.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. Very cool.
Whole different perspective. Wow.
Yeah. It does draw attention to the shadow more, I think.
Yeah.
So the benefit of it is that we got rid of some of this. We got rid of a lot of this, which wasn't helping.
It's still all there. It's just squished together.
Yeah.
Point
It's
up
still
more.
there. It's just compressed.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
does it feel too distorted to you, Jim? What do you think about it?
No, actually, it's if I could have gotten over that far, which I could not, but so the wonders of the Photoshop realm, to be able to make it look like I'm a lot closer to that bridge than I actually am.
Yeah, I figured the way that rock looked there, you couldn't move over anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, and you could just use your clone tool on that small piece left and get rid of it and make the bridge come right to you.
It doesn't replace the bridges under it though. I mean, if you just clone it out, it won't do all your steel work under there.
I mean, they've made so many improvements on that. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. But certainly a problem. I mean, I've had to do crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts, questions about that?
Perfect. I think it's a great fix.
Yeah.
So here's the histogram. I don't think you changed it. You did change a little bit of the coloration. I'll show you that in a minute. You can see, Jim, that he spread out a little bit. You weren't up against your whites and he moved you up against your whites. And you can see that cropped, transform, and compress. See how it's just a little bit brighter?
Yeah.
And a little bit less brown in the sky. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim, I got a question. Did you have a polarizer on for that?
Likely did. I don't recall offhand, but I probably did.
Yeah, I was noticing that darker sky on the top there.
Yeah, right. Maybe that was a passing storm that was rolling into the area.
Yeah, just the haze from it.
Okay, so I saw that Avery came on. Avery, can you, are you on?
I'm here.
Okay, great. You can stay unmuted if you want. And if you want to hang on afterwards, we'll go back and look at your other ones if you'd like, since you got on late. Avery is our junior member, everybody. You're 12, is that right, Avery?
Yeah, I turned 13 in April.
Okay, great. So 12 and 11 12ths. So this is Avery's novice entry. She's been doing very creative stuff, just very creative photography, doing it on her own. So Dennis, our judge, and you can see him up at the top on the names if you go up, Avery. I like the pattern of the diagonal leaves. The stem is well placed to show the pattern going the other way and gives interest to the image. I might like to see a little more saturation and vibrancy to the greens to make the leaf stand out more from the background. Okay, and we'll go see what he did there. Okay, and this is the reworked entry that he did on yours. I'll put those side by side. Now, Avery, I want you to remember he had no idea you were a junior photographer. So he's treating you like you're an adult photographer. So, so this is the difference that he did to your photo and what he did on your histogram. Are you familiar with histograms, or is that new to you, Avery?
That's brand new.
Okay, great. Well, this is what your histogram looked like, and that's what your photo looked like. And then he added a lot of saturation, so that made your photo a lot bigger here. And we'll talk a little bit about histograms. If you stay on, we'll show you a little bit about that. So he brightened it and he saturated it a little bit. So we'll look at both of those together. Do you like it better, Avery? Does it seem like too much? Does it not seem like what you saw? What are your feelings about his versus yours?
Just a lot brighter.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. It's very, very bright.
I like the leaves brighter. I don't know that I'd like them that bright and that saturated. I think like a compromise between the two. But I don't like the background becoming brighter and more saturated. So I would have gone in and done fixes in the areas between the leaves to downplay those. You know me, I would have used my Nick filters and Vivisa and downtoned them.
Any other thoughts?
I like how the blue showed up in the leaves on the left.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And so this is the, so we'll come, I would agree with you, Avery, like to me, it's a little bit on my monitor, it's a little bit oversaturated, but it just gives you an idea of where you can go, like what you can do with a photo. We'll talk about a couple of your others earlier. I'm not exactly sure which
Avery, can I just jump in and say one of the things I actually used to do was when I'd go to the botanical gardens, I used to take a piece of cardstock with me and put things behind plants. So like I would have white behind it or a black piece of cardboard behind it. And then you get rid of all the distractions and the plant really pops.
You don't get the like
that makes sense.
Funny purple coming through and stuff. Good job. Okay, Teresa, are you on? We'll get you to unmute and we'll talk about yours. Teresa won best of show on this.
I'm still here. I was just about to go. I've been
Perfect. Yeah, I know you've been working
I'm
too.
just about done with my day.
So Dennis absolutely insisted I include this photo because it was his favorite. And this is the artist, Teresa Stevens Dennis.
Right.
And so this was her, and it's Ready for Dinner. Is that right? Am I saying that right, Teresa? Dressed for Dinner.
Dressed for Dinner. Okay.
Dressed for Dinner, I think. Very nice. They look like they're ready to go. I'm guessing that a treat or two plus a state command are involved in this. The color of the tie works well. I usually add a slight vignette on all of my serious photography, and it might be useful here as well as lightening in the shadows. You might also do a little cropping on the left. And this is the reworked. I'm going to put them side by side. So Dennis cropped in from the top. He added a vignette. And Dennis, should you crop in? And he cropped in from the left also.
Yeah.
Added a vignette. And then I think you lightened the eyes on the white dog, Dennis, is that right?
Lighten the face on the dark dog.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you can see that difference.
Yeah, it looks really good. I think the vignette is a little bit heavy, but everything else I really like.
It is. It's something that's adjustable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love how the tie matches the couch.
Yeah.
So
I know. I just by chance, I guess my husband kept a little extra fabric and made himself a tie after we had the couch recovered.
I thought maybe the dog tore up the cushion and that was what was left over.
I thought maybe you did the tie somehow in Photoshop and cloned and changed it out or something. Anyway, it's adorable. Gorgeous picture. I love it.
Well, and the necklace on the lighter dog is beautiful too.
Yes,
So
she does like her sparkles.
I think there's a, so we lightened the face with levels and we added a vignette. And so part of what he did here, and this is for Avery because she had asked about shadows, is he was able to move the histogram, or you could use the shadows slider in Lightroom, because Avery, you're on Lightroom, I'm pretty sure. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can just move that shadow slider a little bit and that'll just brighten things up. Or you can use your adjustment brush and just put an adjustment brush. For example, if you wanted to lighten this dog's face and just lighten your exposure just a hair. And it's all about really subtle changes, you know, so that it's not too much.
Okay.
Beautiful photo, Teresa. Congratulations.
Thank you. I do love all my animals.
Oh yeah.
And this is Sue is on, I believe. Is she still on? This is one of Sue's.
She was on earlier. I think she said that she had to go as well.
Okay. So this is Sue's advanced entry. Nice bouquet. Wonder if it's shown the right way. To me, it looks like it'd be better rotated. There does seem to be a greenish tint, maybe because of the border. See what you think if a small stroke to separate the image from the background. I might also be tempted to shift the leaves that partially cover the rose so it'd be fully visible when it was taken. So he turned it this direction, and this is the leaf that he's talking about, where that rose is covered, that you don't see that rose. So just something to look at when you're doing your photography to make sure you catch that. And I'll put those side by side. And you can see he made it a little less green and it turned it the opposite, rotated it. So it hung more like a bouquet would hang. Don't know that this, yeah, so this is, and that's the final. Any comments on that? Any thoughts about that? one thing that Dennis was suggesting in his note was not to use a bright stroke like this, but to use something a lot subtler, which he did not use on his, but something really muted. You don't want it to frame it. You want it just to keep it from being confused on where it's hitting, you know, a white background or something. And if you want to use something bright, make it really, really small, not 10 pixels, but like 2 pixels. Any other thoughts on this one? Okay, I think this is our last one. And Bill, are you still on? This is a Bill thumb photo.
I'm still on.
Okay, perfect. So the photographer on Dennis, it's sharp where it needs to be. I'm guessing that the action is just playing. I would really consider cropping off all of the light area on the left. That would keep our attention on the face and the hand. That's the edit, and there they are side by side. What do you think, Bill? Do you like the change to it, the crop?
I do, absolutely. It's a very valid crop.
And just back to the fill the frame concept.
Yes.
Anyone else have any thoughts on this? On any changes they would have made?
I like it.
Yeah, I think, and Dennis uses a lot with the square crop. And he says it's not square, like he's not choosing one by one as his choice, but it does, I do noticed all the way through, he uses that shape quite a bit, and it's very powerful, I think, maybe because we don't see it very often. So it's just simply a crop. That's the only difference here. So in summary, crop to fill the frame, use your histogram to brighten or darken, use your contrast, make sure you have plenty of contrast, and use a vignette to emphasize your subject. Here's the information on joining PSA, Photographic Society of America, if you want to be an individual member. Several of us are. And if you have any questions for Dennis, you can contact him at this email. Does anyone have any questions for Dennis? Any comments?
Thank you for spending your evening with us and giving us all this information.
Okay, well, you're very welcome. It was fun doing it.
Yes, thank you very, very much.
I was just very happy with like how simple his changes were. Like, yes, he did a sky replacement, but and he did, yes, he did a transformed on Jim Whoopi's bridge, but for the most part, they were just, you know, 5-second changes to a photo, and looking at what you could get with a simple change, just a little bit of a tweak. I thought that was really helpful, Dennis. Thank you so much.
Dennis, I appreciate your time too. This, Mike, I think it's always interesting when you look at all your photos, and as you're working on them, you think of all the different things you can do with it. And, you know, it's all subjective, and there's probably 16 different ways to do every particular image. So it's always interesting to me to see what somebody else sees in the photograph that you've taken. So thanks.
And even if in Photoshop or Lightroom, there's half a dozen ways or more to get the same result.
You can go black and white. You can enhance the colors, or decrease the saturation. There's so many things you can do. It really brings. That's what I like about photography, is you have the technology side of it. You know, as far as the camera settings and all of that, but then you have the creative side, which to me is at least as much fun, playing around with it on a computer and seeing what you can do with it.
Yeah, the important thing is to show the viewer what you saw, and how you work on getting that across.
Your efforts are appreciated, Dennis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So a couple of, Dennis, please stay on because I want to run back over Avery's photos for her. Okay. I want to mention the next 2 workshops. Tuesday, April 6th, that's next Tuesday. We don't have a break, we have next Tuesday. We're going to do action and motion photography, how to stop action, the football in the air, and how to do motion photography where you make the race car get all gooey and slippery and long. blurred. And that's going to be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. taught by Chris Gay. And that's getting us ready for one of our competition topics. And then Tuesday, April 20th at 7 is going to be member share. And so get a hold of Chris if you are going to be a sharer and get your presentation together. 8 minutes, 4 photos ready to talk through what changes you made from straight out of camera to your finished photo. And we're looking for topics of what you'd like for workshops next year. Chris and I are already starting to program for September on. So we need to know what you'd like as competition topics for print or digital, or and what you'd like for workshops. And what we're going to try to do is, if you want a topic called abstract, we're going to give you a workshop called abstracts, so that you have more information a month or two ahead to get things ready. Just like self-portraits, we did a workshop on self-portraits, so you'd have some information for that. So anybody else have anything that they want to bring up? Jerry, do you have any business you want to bring it up?
No, I think I'm good. We're all set at this point.
Fantastic. Well, anybody wants to stay on, feel free. And we're just going to back up to a couple of Avery's photos since she joined late, so that she can get those covered. And if anybody else wasn't on when their photo was discussed, we're happy to zip back and do that for them also. Night, everybody.
Oh, is it?
Night.
Oh, she's still there. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Brenda. Well,
Yes.
I was just
Well
checking to
done.
make sure Avery was still there.
Yeah, Avery's still here.
Okay.
Brenda, this whole production was well done. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. It was fun putting together. It's really great working with Dennis. Glad that you liked it, Jim. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Thank you, Jim. Say hi to
All right.
Marcia.
Okay, we'll do it.
Did you enter something, Avery?
Yeah, she has several in here. I'm just got to, we started with her actually. This is
Yeah.
hers. Okay, so this is your photo, Avery. And Dennis says, ignore this. He thought you were being like a photographer who was thinking about aging and old and all that, as opposed to a novice photographer that didn't know how to do, change your photo. So he lightened up your photo and he took off the dead leaf. So I'll actually just put them both side by side. See how kind of got some kind of dead stuff? He got rid of that. So he made it a lot brighter, and that was your shadows. And I'm going to show you a picture of that. So this is the histogram, and it is on the back of your camera as one of your choices. What are you shooting with?
I don't know.
A cell phone?
No. She's got a camera. So on the back of your camera, you have a choice to see your histogram. And we can get somebody to help you with your photos if you want to go out with somebody and shoot. And I don't know with COVID, how your parents feel about that, but
we don't care.
Okay. We can definitely get you some help and get you comfortable with a few things. So this is what your histogram looked like. And what a histogram is you want it to go from black all the way to white, so it shows the complete range of color. And yours was very short on this side and short on this side. So basically he took the slider and slid in and to grab that, and he slid in here to grab that, and that's what brightened up your photo.
Okay.
And that's like called using levels or working with your histogram, but that's all that's involved. And then this will change your midtones. And they're just something you can play with, and you can always just go back the way they were. In Lightroom, I don't know if you know, but you have your history statement on your left, and you can back up so that, like, if you do something, you go, oh my gosh, what, that's horrible. You just can go back a step or 10 steps or all the steps. So he used the histogram to make that difference. Do you like it? Is it too much pink and blue? I mean, I could argue that it is, but I like it a lot, the direction he's going.
Avery, what application do you use to process your photos?
I have no idea.
Okay, a couple of things you're going to want to find out. Is what kind of, who makes the camera that you're using, and then what your preference is for processing pictures. That'll help people kind of guide you in different directions. For example, the picture of the histograms in Lightroom and Photoshop, those eyedropper tools don't exist. And you can adjust those black, gray, and white levels with sliders in Lightroom also.
Okay.
So that's one thing you're going to kind of want to take note of, is who makes the camera that you're using and which application you prefer to use when you process your photos, okay?
Okay.
Jerry, I was actually thinking of you for working with Avery when I mentioned that. And I don't know how, if you're vaccinated yet, or how you feel about being out.
I'll tell you what, Avery, if you're available next weekend, talk with your parents, check with them. Okay. Let me know. You can just send me an email. You can just send it to secretary@fwphotoclub.com. You don't have to use my personal email address, but if I'm willing to go out to the Botanical Conservatory next weekend, and we'll walk through some basic camera stuff. Okay. We'll take some basic photos. Bring everything that you've got with you, okay? If you're able to come, get with your parents, talk to them, have them come out with you, whatever, you know. You gotta have to have somebody bring you, okay? But yeah, if you're willing to meet me next weekend, let me know, and we'll definitely work something out for you, okay?
Okay.
And Jerry is very good about explaining those basics, and he'll back up on all of that, and he's very good technically on for beginners. So I think that he would be really helpful for you. And the Botanical Gardens is great because if it's raining or cold or muddy or whatever, you can be in there and taking great pictures of flowers. And Jerry's a computer guru by trade, so he can figure out whatever camera you've got, he'll have it figured out in 2 seconds. Whereas a lot of us only know our gear, and Jerry is very smart that way. Okay, I know we have your puppy in here.
That's actually my grandma's dog.
Oh, okay. So here's your pup. And so what he did here is he said it's too cute to judge, which is a very cute dog. The areas beside the subject aren't important and should be cropped off. You might try working the shadow areas to brighten them up. Okay, and so what he did is this. Now I'm going to put them side by side for you. What do you think?
It's definitely better.
Yeah, it's way bigger, right? Like the puppy jumps out at you, right? It's eye to eye. What you did right was you got really down even with the puppy or dog or whatever. And the pup's really looking in my eyes and like ready to jump on me. And that's really engaging. So he took a lot of the other stuff out, and there was a discussion about even taking out more stuff, like darkening around so we're not looking at the carpet to the wooden floor, to the red drapes, that all we see is that pup looking straight at us, and maybe even taking down the orange of the collar.
One quick
Dennis,
comment on this, Brenda.
What?
One quick comment on this. I like the secondary crop. Avery, what I would mention to you at this point is your orientation in your original photo is what's called landscape mode. Since your subject is basically vertical, you might turn your camera into portrait mode. That would do a lot of that cropping for you automatically before the picture's even taken.
Okay.
Okay, that's you can take them both ways and see which one you like best. But just turn your camera up vertical in portrait mode. That would give you the same layout that he has in his edited version is in portrait style. Okay, so it's going to give you that layout automatically. Okay, take them both ways, see which one you like. Okay.
Okay.
And something that was brought up in the comments there was that picture behind the dog there, that bright area. If you could tone that down somehow, and I mean, I don't want to get into that now, but watch out for bright objects that might distract from your subjects.
Okay.
And Dennis, do you want to talk about how you lightened up the face of the dog a little bit and how you changed the color tone to be less gray and more warm tones, you know, golds?
Yeah, I'm not real sure, but can you show that histogram again? Any histogram.
Oops, hang on. Puppy didn't have a histogram, so let me just go forward and get a histogram. There you go.
Yeah, there's those 3 arrows on the bottom. I think you'll see these in Lightroom. But like that one there, it'll brighten up a picture. That'll brighten up your white areas.
Okay.
One in the middle will be your middle.
Pull this
tones, and
way.
yeah, moving that way, it'll lighten up the white areas.
Okay.
The one in the middle, I think that's what I probably used on that dog, was just sliding that a little bit to brighten up the colors. And then the one on the far side, that's the darks. So if you slide that one in, you're going to be turning things black. But you've got all of that. I mean, in this one, it's got all that space in the front there. That, I mean, on the bottom, there's nothing on the front side. So you can slide that slider all the way over till it starts showing some pixels. That's actually the pixels and how many pixels there are in each tone.
Okay.
But that's something to play with. You don't want to do homework. You'd want to do this.
This is the fun homework. Come on.
Yeah.
This is what you get to do when you're an adult. So those were the 3 that he did on yours, Avery. And just to point out what he did on some others is, like, for example, you can see the flower on the left. He cropped in more to get rid of the green on the side, and he brightened it again. See, it's so much more powerful, right?
Yeah.
It's and like on this bird, he did a very subtle thing here. I'll put them side by side. He put the same distance on either side of the bird and got rid of a bunch on the top, again, to make the birds bigger, because there's nothing else in the photo that's more interesting than these weird birds. So he really went in on almost everything we looked at. Here's a really good example that was in Novice also, is that very nice photos by Bernadette, and he just darkened around the outside. Now there was some discussion it was too dark of a vignette. It's called a vignette when you darken around the outside, but you can see how that effect draws your eye in, and you see so much more detail with a little bit of darkening on the edge.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip that one because that one didn't really work well. Here, this picture on the left, you see they left part of the fireplace there or something yellow? And it's very distracting because it's the brightest thing in the photo, so your eye goes there. And then the wall behind is light yellow, so your eye goes there. So he cropped that off. He darkened behind the wall, and there's some discussion it was too dark behind the wall, but you get the idea. Yeah, you want to see this, not everything else.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not part of the subject, don't let it distract from the subject. Get rid of it. Make it as simple as possible. Oh, this is a really good example. Beautiful birdhouse. And they did it right by showing the hook that it hung from, but then it makes it so small. So they cropped in on this to show the birdhouse bigger. You know, fill your space with the photos so that everybody can enjoy the details on it.
Yeah.
So Jerry will be a great job. Talk to your folks if you can go out to Botanical Gardens. It's secretary@fwphotoclub.com.
Okay.
And you've got
your dad's got my email address too. So either you or he can send something to me, and I can do Saturday or Sunday and plan on spending a couple hours there. Okay.
Saturday next week. I don't think. I'm thinking. I'll just have my dad get a hold of you.
Yep.
That'll be easier.
You have him contact me and we'll make some arrangements.
Okay.
And when he sends me the email, if you're gonna go, when he sends the email, let me know what kind of camera you have.
Okay.
Okay. And let me know what you use to process your photos with. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll get some stuff worked out for you. Okay.
All right.
Alrighty. I'm done at this point, folks.
Will you work something
Jerry,
out for me too?
We are done too, Jerry. Thank you so much for offering to help Avery and staying on. And Dennis, thank you again.
Oh yeah.
Really wonderful presentation. So appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
You folks have a good evening.
Yeah. You too.
Bye, Avery. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.